Hello there, students! So before we start, I want you to shake your hands and let's perform 3 gratitude claps. Every clap, say something that you're grateful for. Clap! Thank you for my friends. Clap! Thank you for my family. Final clap! Thank you for all the blessings. Yay! So thank you all for participating. So now, let's open our chat box and prepare to type in your answers for the following drill. Pick your favorite between the given options. First, chocolate or milk? Next, games or movies? Finally, indoors or outdoors? Yay! So I see there that a lot of you likes chocolate and games. But there is a tie between indoors and outdoors, and that's good to know. When you chose about the given choices, what made you choose your answers in the drill? Were your reasons based on facts or personal preferences? What factors come into play when you choose based on your personal preferences? For example, experience, upbringing, trend, environment, etc. While it may sometimes be harmless to choose based on your personal preferences, however, there are instances when this may easily make you biased in believing certain types of information. This may result in you forming biases, which later turn into belief that can alter your attitude towards an issue. I mentioned bias or biases. Do you know what bias means? Before that, here are the objectives for our lesson. Before we proceed with the lesson, please go to this link. And that is for our today's quiz. If you can't access it, the questions will still be displayed on screen, so you can type your answers in the chat box. Remember, we will answer the quiz together. We will answer it as we go through the lesson. Now let's proceed with the lesson. What is bias? Bias refers to an author's expression of his own opinion on a particular issue without examining and presenting enough evidences. This arises from the author's thinking, which may be influenced by personal beliefs, culture, attitude, preferences, and past experiences. To further understand bias in writing, refer to the illustration. The unfair presentation of an issue and focus on one side is called subjective writing or biased writing. Subjective means it is based on the personal perspective or preferences of a person. On the other hand, objective means not influenced by or based on a personal viewpoint. It is a fair presentation that focuses on both sides. Now, go to the Typeform link and answer the following question. Question 1. What makes the author's information untrustworthy? A. Generalized ideas. B. Opinions supported by facts. C. Ideas accompanied by research statistics. D. Logical argument. So what is the author's bias? An important part of evaluating an author's ethos is identifying the author's bias. Bias is any opinion that influences a person's thoughts, feelings, or actions. A person can be biased against something or have a bias for something. An author's bias is an opinion or a prejudice that affects the author's writing. It prevents the author from being completely neutral about the topic or issue about which he or she is writing. The author's bias is the preference or opinion that prevents one from approaching something with a neutral point of view. It's not always bad, but it does not belong in some types of nonfiction when a statement reflects a partiality, preference, or prejudice for or against a person, object, or idea. The author may state some of his or her biases directly by telling the reader his or her opinions on certain topics or admitting that she or he has a conflict of interest or preference. But when an author does not acknowledge his or her own bias, a skilled reader can infer what an author bias may be by looking at the author's diction and use of evidence.
How do you determine the author's biases?
Wow! Who are you?
You don't know me? Doesn't matter now. I'm here to teach you how to determine the author's biases.
The floor is yours.
To determine the author's biases and to understand his or her underlying purpose, you must look at the use of evidence and diction. Evidences can be in the form of facts and information, testimonies and direct observations, scientific and legal findings, and anecdotes and philosophical evidences. Diction refers to the words or expressions that help convey the stand of the author towards an issue. These words and expressions may indicate positive or negative connotation or meaning. Okay, bye.
So for question number 2, this can be in the form of facts and of information, testimonies, and direct observations. A. Diction. B. Evidence. C. Bias. D. Findings. Type your answers in the chat box if you can answer our link. Question number 3. These are the words and expressions that may indicate positive and negative implications. A. Diction. B. Evidence. C. Bias. D. Findings.
Let's go back to diction. The table shows an example of a word with positive and negative connotation. Positive connotation, my new neighbor is a mature woman. The word mature means that the woman is well-mannered. This implies the author's positive view towards the woman. Negative connotation, my new neighbor looks too mature in that dress. The word mature means that the woman looks old in her dress. This implies the author's negative view towards the woman.
So for the next items, determine whether the statement is subjective or objective. Chocolate is the best flavor and milk is the worst. Determine whether it's subjective or objective. Gaming improves cognitive abilities. However, addiction to gaming may lead to health problems. Subjective or objective? Thank you for taking the quiz. Just rate the difficulty of our quiz and submit it. For your assignment, answer the activity for or against. Visit the link for our Jamboard where you are going to write your answers. The link will be sent in the chat box and also in our GC. Based on the given paragraphs, identify the idea that the author favors. Write the word for under the topic if the author is biased towards it, and if not, write against. After that, answer the questions for self-check. Do this activity honestly, and please don't copy the answers of your classmates. You will be graded according to your effort and participation. Are there any questions or clarifications? If none, this has been Teacher Keza, and please don't forget about stay safe and God bless!